midday. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News. We are coming to you live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka, Accra. My name is Adjuatin Kramat Domina. Coming up, parts of the capital, Accra, submerged after hours of downpour this morning.
When it rains, it's flat, and when it's flat to pedestrians and even cars, we find it difficult to even get to our workplaces.
We'll take you live around some of the areas and bring you the latest this afternoon. Also coming up, tensions rise in labor sector as 3 teacher unions give government 1 week ultimatum to address issues relating to their conditions of service.
We wish to state emphatically that should the employer fail to address our grievances on or before May 13, 2024, we shall not hesitate to call on leadership to appeal to heaven with the utmost alacrity.
Still in this package, Office of the Special Prosecutor refutes claims that it cleared former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapa before transferring case to Iyoko.
There is no way we could have proceeded and then investigated and then write a report on money laundering for Iyoko. Then Iyoko will send to AG. No, we only referred a matter to Iyoko as whistleblowers for Iyoko to investigate.
And later, power sector challenges persist despite assurances from President Akufo-Addo that it was over, while the Institute of Energy Security says the president was misled.
What the president said on 1st of May, he was misled basically because the data available do not support the fact that we've solved those.
We have details of these and more stories coming your way in the next half hour. The bulletin is live around the globe on citinewsroom.com. On YouTube and on Facebook, we are live on Citi 97.3 FM. Around the country, we are on a number of affiliates. In the Western region, you can tune into Premier 100.5 FM in Takoradi, Beach 105.5 FM in Takoradi. In the Bunu region, this is Greener FM 95.9 in Sunyani, Ashanti region, Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. In the Volta region, you can find us on Global 105.1 FM in Ho, Adanu 107.7 FM in Adakluwaya. In the Northern region, this is Diamond 93.7 FM in Tamale. In the Upper West region, Westlink 88.1 FM. In the Upper East region, Source 100.1 FM. And in the Northeast region, Scarp 101.3 FM. Please stay for details.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Thank you for choosing us this afternoon. We begin with floods, and many parts of Accra experienced flooding following a downpour this morning. The situation led to severe congestion on roads, leaving numerous corporate workers, traders, students and motorists stranded. Many motorists plying the Pokwasi, Achimota, Odona, Tesano and Alajo stretches were compelled to pull over and seek shelter. Here are some of them.
The drainages are closed. They don't, at least disturb the gutters. The gutters are choked here. So when it rains, it's flat. And when it's flat to pedestrians and even cars, we find it difficult to even get to our workplaces. And I think the government is not making anything to at least rectify those issues. And it keeps on happening. Each day is raining.
We need a gutter, yes. The government needs to have a gutter in front of this place. That will help us, the water will pass through. Then we walking through the water. As you can see, my leg, I'm not coming to walk through the water before I get to where I'm going to school. So what I would say is the government needs to get a gutter here for us.
Well, those were some motorists who were compelled to seek shelter as a result of the downpour this morning. Let's now touch base with some of my colleagues in Accra to assess the situation. We'll start from Kaneshi. My colleague Fred Duho is live in that area. Fred, good afternoon. Which areas have you been in Kaneshi and what can you report?
Ajwa, thank you. Currently, I am opposite the Kaneshi market and the back of the Takoradi station. And I have been here some years ago, specifically about 2-3 years ago, to file reports in these particular areas. And the situation, as I reported last 2-3 years, hasn't changed or hasn't improved. And the people here are still reeling under the flood because today's downpour actually caused a number of them to make to salvage some of their properties. And they are even telling me this is the list of all the floods they've experienced over the years. As you may well be aware, the Ghana Meteorological Department is predicting heavier rains in the coming weeks and months. Therefore, we can just ask them what specifically they are hoping to do to cope with the situation. But before then, I can mention to you that when I visited some of their rooms, I have seen that they've erected or elevated the staircase in front of their rooms to prevent the water from entering their rooms. And when you enter their rooms, you see that they've adopted another coping mechanism, which is to erect or install shelves on the wall, elevated above human height, to basically pack their belongings onto the shelf, so that anytime the rain comes, they will be able to at least salvage their properties. We have some of them here briefly for them to tell us what the situation is today and what they are hoping to do in the coming days. Welcome to Citi News, sir. What's your full name? Paint for us what has been the situation today with the rain.
I'm not around one day you call me, especially I asked about them and my room if it's actually off. And I don't say yes. No, I came and check it. When I came and do it, I saw my church to our this in broke, and we do it. So we come and when you come and saw it, but we clean the water and we try to move our junk and things. And we have the problem here because of the participation. Through the entrance, because when the water full up, all the part come, when it hits the station, we bounce back to our room unless maybe my stomach level or my chest level before we pass to the station. We complain to our leaders, the MPs, and some of the assemblymen. They come and see it. They say, okay, we'll come and do something for it.
Well, Fred, we'll have to come back to you. So do follow up the situation for us. So my colleague Fred, who was talking to us about the level of impact the flooding this morning has caused at Kaneshie. Let's now travel to Taifa, where my colleague Philip Nilate is also on standby to talk to us about the devastation. Philip, what actually is the situation in Taifa when it comes to the issue of the flooding?
Thank you, and good afternoon to our listeners. The Taifa place, that is along the Ofankor to Achimota stretch, often floods whenever there is a downpour, and this morning's situation is no different. Just that the rains received around some 30 minutes to 1 hour. It lasted for 30 minutes to 1 hour, and vehicular traffic was on that particular road, especially at the Moose side of the Achimota to Ofankor stretch. That particular place got flooded because of the drains along the stretch that is choked with silt and also refuse. According to some of the traders along this particular stretch at the Moose side who sell wood, they say that this drain has not been desilted for a very long time, though the authorities ensured that the drain was desilted last year. Such activity has not been done this year. And they fear that since we are entering into the rainy season, just May, this month is May, entering into June, July, which is going to be the major rainy season, they fear that there will be gridlock on that road. No vehicle will be able to ply the stretch in the coming days. They're asking authorities to, as a matter of urgency, be up and doing to desilt that particular drain at the Moose side of Angkor to Achimota Road. Some of the drivers who shared their frustration with Citi News noted that they had to stay in traffic for 30 to 1 hour since when there was the rainfall or when the rain started. And this would disrupt productivity at the workplace. They would have to now stay in this particular rainwater for a very long time, and they fear that this will happen in the coming days. So the authorities should be up and doing and get the place fixed immediately.
Philip, thank you so much. That's my colleague Philip Nilate. He was talking to us from Taifa. So we're essentially giving you an overview of what the impact of this morning's flooding has been across the capital. Let's now join my colleague Ansheli Ziu, who was at Cantonment following a report that the windstorm preceding this particular rain uprooted some trees which fell on vehicles. And good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. What is the situation regarding the trees that fell on the vehicles? Have there been any casualties?
No, there's not been any casualties, but When we got to the scene, met with the director of the Parks and Gardens that was narrating the incident to us. He did mention that the tree fell on a vehicle of a military man, and also it fell on a motor rider who was trying to see how he would pass and then escape the situation. But unfortunately, the tree fell on him and it fell on his thigh, and he had to be under the heavy tree for about 20 minutes. When the Parks and Gardens, they had to get some equipment to cut the trees into smaller pieces before they could lift it off him. But the director did mention that after lifting it off him, he wasn't able to walk. So they had to move him to the police hospital. So that was the situation that happened there. He also did mention that the situation caused huge vehicular traffic on the stretch, but after they cut the trees into smaller pieces and moved it out of the way, now the place is flowing and the cars are moving in a very orderly manner at the moment. So that's what happened. We've also heard that we've had information that there's a similar situation at airports and patrols. So we are trying to follow up to see what exactly the situation is at those areas as well.
And Shirley Ziwu, thank you so much. You heard my colleague here at the Citi Newsroom. She was recounting or talking to us about some trees that have been uprooted and falling on some vehicles, injuring some people or a person in the process. Quite unfortunate there. But let's finally touch base with my colleague Christopher Asima, who is at Cycle. Chris, we know that Cycle usually floods when it rains. What's the situation this time round? Has it entered people's homes? What can you report?
Well, thank you very much, Ajua. This time around, Circle, the flooding is still occurring, but I think that today what we are seeing is not as massive as we usually see the Circle area flooded. But there's still flooding ongoing here, despite all the drainage work that the Assembly seems to have put in place. I went around the area, around the Bank of Ghana, the Fiesta area, and around the Commercial Bank area, and I realized that, yes, there's still a bit of flooding here at Circle. And also, I moved quickly from there and went around the Odona area and checked to find out what's also ongoing there. And you could see that the Odo River had also overflown, and it had even brought out all the waste from the water to the surface of the water. And you see people here trying to fish refuse and then also gather them to go and sell.
Thank you so much. Christopher Asima is my colleague here at the Citi Newsroom. So essentially, you've heard four of my colleagues reporting from around the capital, telling you about the devastation this morning's downpour has caused on the capital. We will do well to keep an eye on this situation, but let's stay a while longer on floods, because the Ghana Meteorological Agency says Ghanaians should expect more rains in the coming days. It is therefore urging people to prepare adequately to that effect. Here's a head of Central Analysis and Forecasts at the Ghana Meteo Agency, Felicity Ahafianyo, who spoke to Citi News.
We should be expecting every day or every other day where we'll be getting rains over most areas over the southern sector. The northern sector, they are now preparing into their rainstorm. So once a while, you will get one moving rainstorm, which is likely to be moderate or severe. That will come with strong winds that's likely to bring distractions, ripping off roofing sheets, and then possible maybe breaking off loose tree branches, or at times maybe uprooting some trees that may not have a firm grip on the ground. So for us at southern sector, we should put our mind at rest that between now till the end of June, July, we will be getting some rain, and most times it will be accompanied with moderate windy conditions with lightning and thunderstorms.
You heard the head of Central Analysis and Forecasts at the Ghana Meteorological Agency, Felicity Ahafianyo. Well, this is still the Citi Prime News, when we return, tensions rise in labour sector as 3 teacher unions give government a week ultimatum to address issues relating to their conditions of service. Please stay for details.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Citi TV is live on DSTV, GoTV, and HD+. On DSTV, find us on channel 363. On GoTV, we're on channel 117, and on HD+, get us on channel 108. On a digital TV, run a new search, but take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV. Citi TV can be accessed on any free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and HD+ boxes. Citi TV, it's your world.
Wherever you day, my mama, I just want to say thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of year, Mother's Day. Celebrate that special woman in your life with a delicious and heartfelt Mother's Day dinner. Treat her to delicious meals prepared with love and care, just like from her kitchen. Let Mama sip on handcrafted cocktails. Let's all join Mama dance the evening away with great live band music from Inchin Band in a warm and welcoming atmosphere at the Citi TV Mother's Day dinner. It's our turn to show appreciation and gratitude for all her sacrifices with a beautiful dinner. Date, Sunday 12th May 2024. Venue, inside the Alisa Hotel Pavilion, Northridge, Accra. Time, 4 p.m. Rate, 450 Ghana cedis. Don't miss this opportunity to show your mother how much she means to you. To reserve your table now for the Citi TV Mother's Day dinner, call 0205 973 973. The Citi TV Mother's Day dinner is powered by Citi TV with support from 97.3 Citi FM. And it's proudly sponsored by GTP, Dano Milk, Verve Duvernay, and Long Mountain.
Mama, God bless you, mama. God bless you.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Yeah, welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Let's bring you some education stories now. The leadership of 3 pre-tertiary teacher unions in the Greater Accra region has given the government until May 13 to address their conditions of service. These unions include the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, and the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, CCT. Now, the unions expressed their disappointment over the slow negotiation process with the government regarding their deprived area allowance and adjustment of the continuous development allowance, among others. Addressing the media, Regional Secretary of NAT, Peter Boateng, says tensions are rising within the labour sector, necessitating urgent action from the government to prevent any disruptions.
The last 24 months have been the most arduous times for the Ghanaian teacher, with no ray of hope of relief initiated by the employer. Demands. We therefore call on the employer once again to honor its promise and commitment to our teaming members by addressing our concerns over the allowances enumerated above. Call to action, and this is where we strike out the salient issues. We are saying, not to be underestimated in any way, that we wish to re-echo that we have become inundated with deliberate reluctance, complacency, and aloofness by the employer, a behavior which we cannot contain any longer. Consequently, we are giving the employer up to May 13, 2024, to, as a matter of urgency, address our grievances. We wish to state emphatically that should the employer fail to address our grievances on or before May 13, 2024, we shall not hesitate to call on leadership to appeal to heaven with the utmost alacrity.
That was the Greater Accra Regional Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, Nat Peter Boateng. Well, in the Eastern region, the unions are asserting that despite their members' display of good faith, the government has shown reluctance and failed to fulfill its obligations. Speaking at a press briefing in Koforidua, the Eastern Regional Chairman of NAGRAT, Godwin Awono-Yevu, warned that if the government does not meet their demands by same date, they will have no option but to declare a nationwide strike.
When the 13th that we've given to the government May comes to pass and we don't hear anything, all teachers across the country will then ask our leadership to declare a massive strike, of which National Labour Commission cannot even access to go back to their classroom until we receive the penny that we are supposed to get in terms of our allowances. This time around, we are not going to budge. At first, masses of teachers in the grassroots wanted our leaders not to call off the strike. But because it went to court and they wanted to give respect to the court's demands, that is why they call off the strike. But we could see that even the negotiation team, it has been flopping here and there. Now we go there, they will tell you the finance minister is not there because he is the one in charge of the government purse. And we realize that it's a way of trying to jeopardize the system so that teachers in the grassroots will then say that the leaders were not able to fight for them. And this is the time around that all teachers are now saying that leaders, we are behind you. Whatever action you want to take it, and we shall continue to follow you.
Godwin Awono-Yevu is the Eastern Regional Chairman of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT. And in the Ashanti region, the demands remain the same. Kwaku Atakra is Ashanti Regional Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, and he addressed the news conference on behalf of the unions today.
We call on the employer once again underlined, to honor its promises and commitment to our teachers by addressing our concerns over the allowances enumerated above. We wish to stress that we have had enough of the nonchalance, complacency, and aloofness of the employer, and will thus not countenance this situation any longer. Consequently, we are giving the employer up to 13th May 2024 to address our concerns. We wish to state in strongest terms that should the employer fail to address our demands on or before 13th May 2024, then we shall call on leadership to take action immediately.
You heard Kwaku Atakra. He's the Ashanti Regional Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers. Well, also in WA, the teacher unions have threatened to take series of actions to press on their demand if the government fails to implement the agreement after this 1 week deadline. Felix Owusu-Ansah is the Upper West Regional Secretary of NAT.
We are organizing this press conference for reasons very simple but equally important, not only to us as teachers, but the collective interest of all stakeholders in education delivery in Ghana. We wish to reiterate that in Ghana's quest to achieve its anticipated educational objective, the teacher plays a pivotal role. The teacher, perhaps more than anybody else, shapes and determines the outcomes of the learning processes and ensures, in effect, the success of the education system. Since the negotiation of our collective agreement in 2009 and after the 2020 collective agreement, the unions have known no peace.
You heard Felix Owusu-Ansah. He's the Upper West Regional Secretary of NAT. Let's move away from education now. The Institute of Energy Security, IES, has described as misleading comments by President Akufo-Addo that the prevailing power crisis plaguing the country is over. During his address at the May Day celebration, President Akufo-Addo said the erratic power supply, widely referred to as Tumso, was over, as the challenges in the country's energy sector mix had been resolved. Despite this assurance, parts of the country continue to experience power cuts affecting livelihoods. Now, speaking to City News on the development, a senior research and policy analyst at the IES, Emmanuel Derek Hache, says the country's generational peak is still unable to cater to its peak demand.
What the president said on 1st of May, he was misled basically because the data available do not support the fact that we've solved Doomsor. If anybody says that they've been able to solve Doomsor, then what it means is that you have a generational peak that is equal to your peak demand, or you have a generational peak that is more than your peak demand, and more or less that is an excess demand. What we have as it stands now is a deficit. We've not been able to meet our peak demand. On the 30th of April, the data from Gridco, that is their system control center, shows that our generation peak was less than 3,700 megawatts, because our peak demand on 10 p.m., that is our peak time, is always 3,750 megawatts. And so what was generated on the 30th of April was less than that amount, because in actual fact we generated around 3,500 megawatts, so a deficit of 200 megawatts. On the 1st of May, when the president spoke, the generation peak was less than 3,500 megawatts. So it means that we were having a deficit of around 300 to 400 megawatts. And so we are still shedding load between 200 to 300 megawatts.
Emmanuel Derek Hatcher is research and policy analyst at the Institute of Energy Security. Let's stay on the issue of power, because the president of the Ghana Journalists Association, Albert Jumfo, has disclosed that between 40 to 50% of media houses are reeling under the impact of the erratic power supply in the country. Already, several reports have highlighted the poor salaries and working conditions of journalists in Ghana, a situation that has been described as a recipe for a compromised media landscape. Speaking to host of the City Breakfast Show, Bernard Avle, Albert Jumfo stated that a persistent unannounced power outage is further eroding the well-being of the media.
From the World Press Freedom Index, the indicator, the economic indicator, which keeps declining since its inception 4-5 years ago. Last year, if you look at the report, the index indicate that last year, under the economic indicator, we had 47.94%. This year, we have 47.92%. It keeps declining. And this means that once you put more pressure on media institutions and entities, how would they generate sort of revenue to be able to pay journalists well? Because the working conditions of journalists has been captured under the economic indicator. How much is journalists being paid in the country? Are journalists paid well? What is their paid? They are paid in terms of finances. And so we have been engaging stakeholders to see how we can work to improve the working condition of journalists so as to affect our position on the World Press Freedom Index. And so this Doomsor is really affecting the effort the GJ is making vis-a-vis with our partners and all that.
Albert Jumfo is president of the Ghana Journalists Association. Let's bring you one of our headline stories. The Office of the Special Prosecutor has refuted claims that it cleared former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapaah before transferring her case to the Economic and Organised Crime Office, EOCO. The OSP investigated Cecilia Dapaah for alleged corruption and corruption-related offences following news reports that her domestic staff stole millions of local and foreign currencies along with other personal effects from her home. The OSP, after months of investigation, closed its case and handed it over to EOCO on the basis that the offence fell largely in the realm of money laundering. EOCO also referred the issue to the Attorney General's office for advice. The AG subsequently advised EOCO to stop the investigations on grounds that the file did not have an investigative report and further documentation to ground a money laundering prosecution. Director of Strategy, Research and Communications at the Office of the Special Prosecutor, Samuel Appiah-Darko, speaking on Accra-based Joy News TV, clarified that his office did not clear Cecilia Dapaah of corruption-related offences.
When the OSP made a referral to EOCO, there were standing committees that were supposed to collaborate because we had not entirely